It's time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnet Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
It's fantastic to have you here. There is so much to unpack, and I would like to start by inviting you to talk about the state of teaching as it is now, and what are the possibilities for new strategies.
Well, there's a lot of frustration that's going on all the way around, from the kids in the classroom who so many of them are just disengaged, bored. There's so many challenges that are coming at our kids, and a lot of them are checking out. And then, of course, the teachers are frustrated themselves, that they are asked to do so much more than just teach. And we're also finding that so many of them don't have the skills to really reach and engage the kids right now. And as a nation, we're not doing so well. We're near the bottom. And so, we've got to do something and wake up. And so many people are frustrated because they feel, I don't know a way. And when you start showing them things that work, they get excited and passionate and wake up inside.
Well, the kinds of things that work that you're talking about are very, very different from rearranging, to use this metaphor, the furniture. You're talking about things that are fundamentally different. And
you're talking about building a new house. Instead of rearranging the furniture in the same house, we're talking about a totally different modality or series of modalities of approaching learning.
So tell us a little bit about how that began. And I know some of it began with your relationship with Dr. Georgi Lozano from Bulgaria.
Yes, we've been at this for about 30 years now. And I was working with adults originally. And it was back in the late 70s. And I heard of a man from Bulgaria. His name is Dr. Georgi Lozano, and he was doing amazing things there. We were hearing these stories where people were learning 1,000 words a day of a foreign language and all these things he was doing, but he's a psychiatrist and an MD, and he was noticing in the hospital that some people were getting well quicker than others, and so he started to pay attention to the elements and what was going on and created a method that he called suggestology, meaning everything makes a suggestion. And here's one of the gems I got from him, is that he says there is no neutral. Everything is either sending a positive message or a negative message.
That's fantastic.
So it's really a lot of awareness around that and looking at everything that we do, to build people up and that it's positive. So his methods in the U.S., when it came here, it's called accelerated learning. And when we heard about him, we actually brought him here, and that's a whole story in itself. A lot of intrigue because he's from Bulgaria, and it was, not easy to get him out at the time. But he did come, and he was in my home for 3 weeks with a group of 16 of us, and that was a turning point in my life. It was one of those moments where you don't really realize it at the time, what a profound impact that was going to have on me. It changed the direction of my life and the work that we're doing and the change that we've been able to make out in the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to talk a little bit as we move forward. Again, the ineffective learning. We're well aware of the ineffective learning, and there's a lot of focus on that. In fact, there's so much focus that the tendency is to push harder. And I know that from what I've read of yours that is not the way to do it. Just keep pushing harder of something into a hole that it doesn't fit in, as it were, is actually creating more stress, which may be the problem. I know that you advocate less homework. There's a lot of things that seem counterintuitive that are and I want you to speak to those. Some of the kind of classic ways that we're pushing something in a direction which is exacerbating the problems.
Right. I know what's happening is doing more of what doesn't work in the first place.
That's it.
Thinking you're going to get a different result out at the end of it. So we look at the whole picture. When you talk about stress and how damaging that is for kids, they're scattered, and so that the techniques and strategies that we teach is about creating an environment that's relaxed but focused. And it's, teaching teachers how to be more effective specifically. Here's a big one, is that there's so much assumption out there in the world. Assumption that teachers, they went to university and they should automatically be effective in the classroom, or kids are going to school, they should know how to learn, know how to study. And when we teach specific strategies, what we hear back most of the time is, why didn't anybody teach that to me before? Because that's what I need.
See, that's the challenge is teachers being taught an outdated model.
Yeah.
Well, some of the specific strategies that you're teaching, I've had the great pleasure to witness, and they are taught in the most spectacularly energetic environment. And you teach things like speed reading and memory and mind mapping and things like narrative trains and mnemonics, all in the most spectacular way, and you call them teacher moves.
Right. And so those what you mentioned are the learning skills, how we teach teachers content that they can teach to their students to be more effective learners. And all of it is using visual, auditory, kinesthetic strategies. It's about getting them experienced and engaged. We don't automatically, we don't expect students to just be motivated to learn.
Right.
That we set up intrigue and environment and give them an experience that draws them in, and then all of a sudden they're thinking, wow, that was fun. And then they think, wow, what did I just learn? And they learned a lot of content, and they get excited about themselves and their capabilities. And when that happens, you get that intrinsic motivation, and that's what we're going for. You can't just keep telling them what to do and they do it and get a mark. It's about really developing a love of learning with that intrinsic motivation that I want to learn. It's exciting. I want to do more. But then it's having the skills so that they can be successful, because that's what builds on motivation when they have those, what we call mini success moments.